Pregnancy is a hardcore sci-fi epic of war, peace, and compromise. Picture tens of millions of sperm launching into the most extreme obstacle course ever built, racing a ticking energy clock through a fortress designed to kill invaders. The first wave slams into a highly acidic environment guarded by countless cells, wiping out millions of weaker sperm, even with a little help from alkaline seminal fluid that softens the blow. Survivors enter a treacherous maze packed with protein nets that trap and end more lives. During ovulation, the body becomes slightly more welcoming, guiding the best with chemical signals. Only a couple hundred make it into the uterine cavity, as immune cells devour stragglers and steer the strongest down the right tunnel. Finally, a few dozen reach a giant target, an egg 10,000 times larger, loaded with nutrients and nearly 100,000 mitochondria, about 50 times more than an average cell. The egg is picky. It tests the survivors and accepts one. Genes merge. The egg stops being part of its mother and becomes something new, no longer a human, but the potential to become one. The mother's body hasn't decided if it will allow this thought to become a word. The embryo will have to earn it. In days, the new being rapidly divides into hundreds of cells and travels to the uterus, splitting into two squads. One team will become the baby. The other, trophoblasts, will build a temporary organ, the placenta, that you once grew inside your mother and that died after your birth. These cells are not a twin, but a kind of guardian angel clone whose only job was to make you exist. The next days are the most dangerous. The embryo rolls through the uterus like a tennis ball in syrup, desperately trying to hold on. A high-stakes chemical conversation begins. The embryo sends signals pleading for permission to attach. The uterus replies with hormones and immune messages, judging the quality of the dialogue. If the signals aren't convincing, the embryo is rejected and dies. The mother invests huge energy, so she ejects anything that doesn't look viable. But the embryo faces life and death, deploying thousands of infiltration units bubbles filled with genetic material that act like a human virus to sway uterine cells to help it implant. Meanwhile, the uterus provides uterine milk, a clear fluid of nutrients and hormones, feeding the embryo until it gets inside. If implantation succeeds, the embryo targets blood vessels to survive. Trophoblasts clone themselves and specialize. One becomes a violent invader, drilling into the uterine tissue like a tiny parasitic octopus, ordering cells to self-destruct, killing some, and even devouring others. Brutal but highly regulated, and it doesn't hurt the mum. This is another test. The mother monitors growth and metabolism. Damaged embryos spend more energy on repairs, becoming noisy with chemicals that provoke immune cells. Weak embryos are too quiet and the conversation stops. This one is just right. The mother releases chemicals that support growth and even activates the immune system. Normally, the immune system would destroy anything not part of her, but uterine immune cells surround and guide the trophoblasts, creating a safe zone and telling dangerous T cells to stay away. Defensive trophoblasts also kill immune cells that get too close. Hundreds of embryo cells leave, spreading through the mother's body, even into the brain, likely telling her immune system to protect the pregnancy. These cells may stay for years or decades, and parts of you may still be in your mother. Quick pause. What part of this blew your mind most? Uterine milk, octopus-like invasion, or cells lingering in mom for decades? Drop a thoughtful comment and tell us why. Around 8 weeks after fertilization, the embryo transitions to a fetus about the size of an olive. Organs begin to form and the blob becomes vaguely human-like. There isn't a single clear moment when a clump of cells becomes a human. It's a fluid transition that societies and individuals mark differently. Meanwhile, trophoblasts construct the placenta, a spongy, finger-like fortress with its own mini immune system that gobbles up microbes and threats. Placental cells creep along maternal blood vessels, stretching them and connecting the fetus through the umbilical cord. With blood flow secured, hormones funnel glucose straight to the fetus, stealing energy from the mother. If the fetus demands too much, this tug-of-war can lead to gestational diabetes. The mother's body wants to support new life, but not at the cost of her survival. Her genes inside the fetus keep allegiance to her, while the father's genes push for maximum investment. It's a fragile piece. Interests aren't perfectly aligned, but both sides must cooperate. In months, the fetus increases its weight over 1 billion times, requiring staggering energy and coordination. If it makes it this far, chances are high it will become a baby, like you once were. If you are alive, you endured a brutal selection, a deadly gauntlet, and chemical negotiations to exist. And you were chosen by an egg that allowed you in, by a mother's body that liked how you spoke, and by cells that protected and nourished you. Biology is unforgiving, but it fuels the greatest wonder, the creation of new life. Subscribe for more energetic, fact-only science stories that reveal the hidden battles beneath everyday miracles. In the war and truce of pregnancy, where would you draw the line between survival and sacrifice?